401ks. So if you have an old 401k sitting out there, and you didn't roll it into a traditional IRA yet, you don't have to count that money in this figure, which could help people out significantly.
So you'd have to take the 401k to a traditional, then take the traditional to the Roth.
No, you would want to leave, in that example, you'd want to leave the 401k where it is, make the conversion using this lowest number possible. You want less money in your IRA if you are doing a partial conversion with some after-tax dollars. Sir, did you have a question?
Is it a good idea to have a convertible IRA and a non-deductible IRA together in one account? Keep it separate, or
well, if you have a non-deductible, hopefully it's earning money.
a non-deductible with a deductible one.
Yeah,
It's together in one account. But you're gonna have to keep the dates or something.
yes. Ideally, you keep them separate. Most people, since
yeah, but the bank didn't know any different either.
right, and they didn't have computers that were as powerful in 1979.
And now the problem is on a customer.
Yes.
They do separate it.
Yeah, you can go back to your.
Think about holding the dates together or not. What happens here is then eventually all of it is going to be taxed.
Correct. Unless you claim otherwise, it's 100% taxable. So people are going through their.
According to the reports, right?
You're going back to tax returns to, late 70s, early 80s, tracking non-deductible IRA contributions. Right. Yeah, it is a tracking
I'm sorry.
hurdle.
Maybe I'm the only one, but I apologize. I still haven't gotten that non-deductible. What is the definition of that?
You don't deduct it off your taxes. So you make a $4,000 IRA
okay,
contribution,
right, okay.
and you don't deduct it off your taxes.
Okay, which was the limit or the maximum in whenever, 10 years ago.
Well, there's a maximum every year.
Right,
currently, it's
if you're
80,000
not
joint,
employed
or there is employer status as well. But if you make a contribution and you make your joint income over 80,000 and you're in your retirement plan, you cannot deduct it. So year in and year out, you'd have to track that. This is what I call a mulligan. I'm a golfer, and this is a do-over. You can convert to a traditional to a Roth IRA and later change your mind. Reverse the conversion and call it a recharacterization, and really drive your banker crazy with paperwork. Why would you do this? Well, maybe you ended up with a surprise business income later this year, and you converted 100,000, and all of a sudden you had surprise income later this year. It would probably be a bad year to convert. So maybe you'd want to undo it. Another reason, you convert $100,000 today, you're doing your taxes April 15th of next year, and you look at your $100,000 you're paying taxes on, and it's only worth $70,000 because of bad investments. Now, I don't think it would ever happen with us, but I've heard it's happened out there, where investments go down, and you have $70,000, you're paying tax on $100,000. You could recharacterize and make it like it never happened. Wait 60 days, and then reconvert the $70,000 and pay taxes on that in the future year. This is a reason to do it earlier in the year versus later in the year. Recharacterization, so you can undo it once you do it. There are a lot of different things that go into this. There's a lot of calculators online. Some of them are great. Some of them are very questionable. Some do not include the time value of money on the money that you pay the government today, which is crazy. In our one example, Elizabeth, age 70, pays $700,000. That money's growing if it's still in your pocket. If it's with the government, it's no longer growing for you. So the calculators online, be careful and read the fine print on what is going on behind the scenes. We are obviously happy to meet and go through some of the details as it pertains to your individual situation. Before I wrap up, I want to talk about some of the traps that some people miss. And reasons not to convert. And in general, you want to convert. I mean, I converted in January. I mean, I hopefully won't touch this money for 40 years, so it's an easy decision for me. I have a lot of time for that money to grow. There's a lot of things in the papers, if you're 50 or better, as Marty said, it doesn't make sense. Well, I would argue with that for a couple reasons. Number one, if you have money that you're likely to pass along, some people pass away at 80 and their beneficiaries are 50 and they're in their peak earning years. So they're going to pay a tax bill at an extremely high tax rate. They could take it out over time, but your beneficiaries could be in a higher tax rate than you are right now. So the probability of money passing along to beneficiaries. Another reason that somebody 50 or better would convert, if you have $2 million in an IRA, think of it as a hedge against future tax rates. And if you converted, say, a few $100,000 of that traditional IRA, and fast forward till you're 70 years old, 20 years later, instead of having $4 million in an IRA, maybe you have $3 million in an IRA and $1 million in a Roth. So you could control your tax rates and use it as a diversification tool for the unpredictability of Congress and the future tax rates. So converting a portion may make a lot of sense for individuals 50 and higher. Important to remember, the income is split. If you decide to convert this year and not pay taxes and pay taxes in 11 and 12, your income rate could go up, so it may be better to pay this year. Financial aid loss, if you convert, it's counted as income. If somebody is looking to qualify for financial aid, their tax statement will say they earned X plus whatever they converted. So it may bounce them out of financial aid qualification. Medicare, if you're paying for and receiving Medicare and you pay $95 or $105 a month and your AGI goes up certain amounts, and it would get bumped up, it could go up as much as $250 per month, up to the max. Is that a reason not to convert? Is that a reason not to convert? Well, I would argue that if that's a reason not to convert, you shouldn't, because $250 per month for 1 year, while it's annoying, it's not a lot of money when you're talking about 20 or 30-year values in an IRA.
But when you're old, it can be.
But something...
And if you split it out over 2 years, you could be paying that premium for 2 years.
Correct, but depending on the balances. Let's see, if you're leaving money to charity, we touched on that. Doesn't make sense to avoid income tax because there will be no income tax to the charity. Required minimum distributions, you cannot avoid them. If you have to take a required minimum distribution, you must take it, pay the tax, and convert the after balance. There's a couple other examples out there that show.
Don't we have this year? You don't have to take the required minimum distribution this year.
2010 you do. 2009 you did not. Yes. So there's talk about it, but as it stands today, you have to take 2010.
But also, isn't it true, and to me, the primary purpose for considering taking that tax hit, the children get this tax-free money the rest of their lives. So if you're looking at this conversion and you're doing a 10 or 15-year expected rate, my life rate, my children are looking at another 40 years tax-free.
Right, and that's a great point. Thanks for bringing that up.
So the 40, you got to, I mean, there's a lot, when you start to look at it in 2060, it's a hell of a